This training will provide tips and best practices for preparing for a CACFP administrative review. This video is presented by the Oregon Department of Education Child Nutrition Programs, also known as ODE-CMP. In this training, we will cover tips for being prepared for an administrative review. This includes keeping up to date and reading guidance and review communications, keeping organized records, and ensuring adequate staffing. Once you are done with this training, you will know how to prepare for a CACFP administrative review, meaning that you will know what to do along the way to be successful and what steps to take once a review is announced, and gain a broad understanding of the best practices for operating the CACFP to have a smooth administrative review. It is always important to stay up to date and read CACFP guidance and communications. This is something you must do at all times. You should not wait for a review to be announced to read CACFP guidance. This includes USDA regulations and guidance such as policy memos, and ODE-CMP guidance such as the Knowing and Growing newsletters and memos. Additionally, once a review is announced, it is important to thoroughly read the review communications sent by ODE-CMP reviewers. There are several key sets of regulations and guidance that CACFP sponsors must be aware of. These are 7 CFR 226, FNS Instruction 796-2, and 2 CFR 200. Additionally, USDA frequently releases policy memos and question and answer documents to provide more detailed guidance on how to meet federal regulations. USDA has a number of guidance manuals available as well for reference and provides live and recorded trainings to sponsors. More information about these resources are available on the USDA CACFP website. ODE-CMP releases the Knowing and Growing newsletter monthly for CACFP that shares important updates, recent memo releases, and best practices for operating the CACFP in Oregon. Sponsors must review and implement this information as applicable. ODE-CMP also issues guidance and policy memos and has a CACFP policy and procedure manual to communicate rules and regulations to sponsors. The ODE-CMP CACFP website houses these items as well as numerous other tools and resources and recorded trainings. Most importantly, when preparing for an administrative review, is to fully read the review communications sent by ODE-CMP. These are specific to each organization and review. When a review is announced in advance, the sponsor will receive a review confirmation email that provides detailed information about the review. This email is not provided when the review is unannounced. The email includes a required document checklist that outlines the records that must be made available to the ODE-CMP reviewers for the administrative review. This list is provided at the entrance conference for unannounced reviews. Sponsors with announced reviews will want to use the required document checklist to double-check that important CACFP documents are on file. ODE-CMP reviewers may also communicate through other emails, phone calls, or MS Teams calls leading up to, during, and following an administrative review. Additionally, in-person conversations will be had while ODE-CMP reviewers are on site. It is important that sponsors take these opportunities to ask questions to ensure you understand exactly what is expected during the review. Don't be afraid to ask questions before the review. We want to make sure that our sponsors are on the same page, and it's always a better option to clear up misunderstandings prior to a review. It is also an opportunity for ODE-CMP reviewers to provide technical assistance to help your organization operate the CACFP successfully. Next, we will talk about keeping organized records. Have an organizational system for all CACFP documents and train backup CACFP staff so they know where documents are located and can access them. A well-organized system will allow documents to be pulled more quickly. Paper files can be stored in CACFP-only folders. Make sure backup staff know where the folders are kept, and keys are available if files are stored in a locked cabinet. Electronic files can be stored by time frame, monthly or yearly, or by document type, for example, meal count folder, menu documentation folder, etc. If you have multiple vendors, it is helpful to keep records organized by each vendor and by month. Also, check files periodically to ensure they are up to date, accurate, and complete. In this section, we will cover record retention requirements, the importance of the CMP management plan and written policies and procedures, as well as providing best practices for maintaining records. Federal regulations require that CACFP records must be kept for the current federal fiscal year plus the prior 3 fiscal years, even if the sponsor closes their CACFP agreement. Records related to serious deficiencies must be kept for a minimum of 7 federal fiscal years. Records must be kept on-site and be accessible during normal business hours. As stated previously, records may be maintained as hard copies or electronically, but they must be the source document. This means they must be the actual document used to support CACFP claims and operations, such as meal count records taken and documented at the point of service, receipts and invoices for CACFP charges, and product labels to demonstrate meal pattern compliance. Failure to have records maintained may result in findings, meal disallowances or adverse action, and corrective actions during administrative reviews. An important part of demonstrating program oversight is the management plan for CACFP. The management plan is required by federal regulations and assists ODE CMP to determine if the sponsor is financially viable, capable, and accountable. The ODE CMP management plan requires detailed information about a sponsor's administrative structure, including the following: responsible staff and backup staff, record retention information, monitoring and staff training information, and program oversight. The CMP Web Management Plan must accurately describe how the organization manages the CACFP and must be kept up to date throughout the year. ODE CMP reviewers refer to this plan when conducting an administrative review. Written policies and procedures are an important part of ensuring CACFP operations are in compliance and to have a successful administrative review. Written policies and procedures assign program responsibilities and duties to sponsor staff and detail the steps required to ensure compliance with program requirements. Policies and procedures should always include double-check systems as internal controls to catch errors along the way. ODE CMP does have policy and procedure templates available for many important CACFP tasks, such as point-of-service meal counts, meal pattern and menu documentation, and nonprofit food service. For areas that ODE CMP does not have an available template, or if sponsors would like to develop their own procedures, it is important to include the who, what, when, where, and how. The procedures should include enough detail that someone with minimal training could pick up the tasks, follow the procedure, and be in compliance with CACFP rules and regulations. Having written policies and procedures and ensuring staff are trained and following them help to reduce findings, adverse actions, and corrective actions during administrative reviews. The following are some best practices for keeping organized records to make a CACFP administrative review go more smoothly and reduce the risk of findings, adverse actions, and corrective actions. Have a sponsor-based CACFP policy and procedure manual that includes all organizational policies and procedures related to CACFP. Keep it up to date, accessible, and train staff on applicable procedures regularly. Store CACFP enrollment and eligibility documentation together in one secure place. When these are stored in individual participant files, they are more likely to get missed or lost and take longer to gather for administrative reviews. Store monthly claim records together, separated by month for quick access. This includes meal counts, attendance records, and working menus or production records. Lastly, have a single place to maintain all meal pattern supporting documentation, such as a file folder, binder, or in an electronic file location. Here's a quick knowledge check. CACFP records must be maintained for A, as long as the organization has a CACFP agreement, B, the current fiscal year only, C, the current federal fiscal year plus the prior 3 fiscal years, or D, none of the above. The answer is C, the current federal fiscal year plus the prior 3 fiscal years. However, in some instances, like a serious deficiency, records must be maintained for 7 fiscal years. The last topic we will cover during this training is staffing. To ensure your organization is operating in compliance with CACFP rules and requirements and have successful administrative reviews, it is important to ensure staffing is adequate and staff are trained and prepared. We will discuss the importance of staff training, having backup staff, doing site monitoring, including appropriate staff in the administrative review, and setting time aside during the review. Staff training is a requirement of the CACFP. New staff must be trained prior to taking on CACFP duties. Additionally, sponsors are required to train staff annually on appropriate CACFP topics related to their job duties. All staff, regardless of CACFP job duties, must be trained annually on civil rights requirements. Sponsors are highly encouraged to conduct regular staff check-ins and retrain throughout the year as new guidance is received or issues are identified. Sponsors that prioritize staff training are often more successful during administrative reviews. Having a well-trained staff reduces errors and non-compliance practices. This in turn will reduce findings, adverse action, and corrective actions during an administrative review. Well-trained staff are often more comfortable during administrative reviews as well, and are able to quickly and easily answer ODE CMP reviewer questions. ODE CMP highly recommends having backup staff for CACFP related duties to ensure that even if the person responsible is out or unavailable, that another staff member is trained to pick up the task and complete it to keep operations and record keeping in compliance with rules and requirements. In many cases, ODE CMP will require a sponsor to put backup staff in place when non-compliance is discovered during an administrative review. It is common that findings from administrative reviews are due to not having backup staff in place, and the staff responsible being out or unavailable to complete their assigned CACFP duties. Sponsors should train multiple staff on the same tasks to avoid this, and assign specific backup staff to ensure requirements are met even when the primary staff are unavailable. Site monitoring on a regular basis is required for multi-site sponsors of the CACFP. It is not required for single-site sponsors, but is a best practice. Single-site sponsors can use the same site monitoring form that is required for multi-site sponsors, or develop their own process. Site monitoring is an opportunity to identify areas of non-compliance with record keeping, meal preparation, and meal service. When non-compliance is identified, follow-up with staff must be taken. This includes retraining staff and providing tools and resources to help them successfully implement the CACFP. Catching issues with site monitoring and correcting staff will reduce the risk of having findings, adverse actions, and corrective actions during administrative reviews. It also helps site staff be more comfortable with the process of being monitored when when ODE C&P reviewers are on site doing meal observations as part of an administrative review. Make sure that key staff will be available for the review. Generally, this will include the authorized representative, food program coordinator, the financial office contact, and the claim contact. Sponsors who have a cook, registered dietitian, or food service management company representative will also want to make sure they are available during the review. Sponsors who have an outside bookkeeper are encouraged to notify the bookkeeper of the review. For announced reviews, let your staff know what to expect. Tell them the names of the ODE C&P staff who will be on site. This will be in your confirmation email. Let staff know when the review will be happening and who will be the point of contact for the reviewers. Share with them that the purpose of the review is to better understand your program and to help ensure your organization is meeting the requirements of the CACFP. ODE C&P does not use this as a gotcha time, but a time to support and guide to help sponsors be successful in their CACFP operations. You can inform staff that at least one site review will be a part of the review and can happen at any time. It is important that when you receive the required document checklist, that you share it with staff that can help gather the documents or answer questions regarding the documents. This will ensure that the correct documents are available for ODE C&P reviewers and will reduce the back and forth of trying to collect the correct information. If ODE C&P reviewers do not receive the correct documentation, it may lead to findings, adverse action, and corrective actions during the review. You do not need to block out the entire day for your administrative review. While you will want to set aside blocks of time for the entrance conference and questions that your reviewers may have or that you may have for your reviewers, you won't need to attend to the reviewers for the entire time. For most reviews, your ODE C&P reviewers will be on site for approximately 2 days. The review will start with an entrance conference where the reviewers will explain the purpose of the review, what they will be looking at, their timeline for the review, and ask questions about your operations. At the conclusion of the on-site review, the reviewers may conduct an on-site exit conference or set up an online exit conference to go over a report of the review. While reviewers are on site, sponsor staff are encouraged to ask questions regarding CACFP and to show off their programs. In this training, we covered tips for being prepared for an administrative review. This included keeping up to date and reading guidance and review communications, keeping organized records, and ensuring adequate staffing. ODE supports equity and excellence for every learner. This institution is an equal opportunity provider. Thank you for taking this training.